So it's Tuesday morning, midday, almost, 20 of 12. Going to go out and do a little local ride here. See if we can catch some good video and audio both at the same time. This is Doolin Court. No, this is Tanager Drive. I'm sorry. I used to live on Doolin Court. Just home sweet home, I guess. So we'll have to see how this video turns out with wind noise and other things maybe happening. It's an overcast day, but pretty nice, I think, all in all. We got a notice yesterday about people speeding in the neighborhood and a couple of people being really troublesome. So I hope we don't run into any of that today. I hope it's just a nice, calm Tuesday morning. See if people can obey the law and not cram into my back. Horizon, okay, they're out of Philadelphia, I believe. They tried to come into Baltimore, did a heavy push for a few months, but didn't seem to make any traction. So I'm not sure how they'll do down here. Everything's blooming, the grass looks good. Not supposed to rain today, but I understand it may rain a bit in the next few days. So this is an area that I've watched grow up. This was a dirt road the first time they actually cleared it and pushed the trees and shrubs and other stuff that was in here out of the way. And Joyce and I walked it in the mud the first couple of days afterwards, and we were just trying to imagine what it was going to turn out like. These houses on our left here were some of the first to be built. Those two, they kind of match each other. Then there's one up here on the right that was a very early one as well. This, when we bought in the spring of '07, we couldn't get into the house until November of '07, at which point we took possession. I think it was November 9th, right before Joyce's birthday. And loved it ever since. A lot of these amenities that you see here were not there in the beginning. The fountains were put in a little later. Flagpoles and all this landscaping came after the fact. Boy, there's a nice strong breeze going on. Look at that water being blown. Well, we'll see how this ride goes today. One of the harder things to determine when you go out for a ride is what kind of conditions are going to be out on the street. And I'm hoping today is just a magical day, but looks like no sunshine. I would say not terribly bad under the circumstances. This road was just paved, I'd say 2.5, 3 weeks ago. It had been under construction here for literally weeks, and finally finished. It was built, this pathway on our right was built maybe 2.5 years ago, and along here there were telephone poles, utility poles. It took the state and Natelli bannering back and forth for almost 2 years until they were finally allowed to go ahead and bury the lines underground. And the result is that we have now a beautiful smooth roadway. And I don't use the paths over there unless there's some urgent need to, because it just seems like it's for slower vehicles and pedestrians and that kind of thing. So I'm getting quite a headwind here. I guess it's, maybe 12 to 15 miles, maybe out of the east. That's why we have an overcast day here today. But I can watch these fountains really get blown around, so it's stressing them. So I'm going to take a quick ride up to Holts Landing and scoot around up there for a few and then come back. I would say it's a pleasant day, but not real pleasant. Not one that I would say would be like a nice sunny day with 5 to 10 mile an hour breezes. It's overcast with, I'd say, 10 to 15 mile an hour winds. So it's quite different. Certainly acceptable. Could be a lot worse. Now these are farms on our right and our left. This corn was planted maybe 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago max. Finally getting some rain and sunshine, and they're really popping up. Oh, they're open there for business there, this finally. Free concert every Tuesday, 6 to 8. So that's at Holts Landing. They do a nice little concert series out here over the summertime on Tuesday evenings. There's a lot of these concerts in and around this area that you just have to know they're there to be able to spend the time to go out and enjoy. Looks like this area on the right might have peas planted. I'm not sure. Soybeans maybe. Both sides. But all this is active farming area. Even though it's so close to Bethany, people still come over here and go by here and go, whoa, that's nice. I'm glad it's still farming country. Blades is a demolition company. Obviously they do a lot of different kind of things up here. This next area, these fellows, they sell firewood. They have quite a complex in there. It's a beautiful home. As you can see, they got bundles of firewood. We're going to take a right up here and go down to Tuckahoe Acres, which is a permanent campsite / RV center. People around here run around in electric little vehicles like this all over the place. Everybody here is very friendly. Now both sides of this road are undeveloped natural woods owned individually by people, and they don't want you trespassing in it. They don't want you going in there and hunting or doing anything. But it's so dense, I'm not sure why you'd want to go in there unless you knew what the heck you were doing. I got a car coming up behind me. Let's see if he's going to try to pass me or not. Now up here on our left is Tuckahoe Acres. This is the marina first that's attached to the area. And the next road in here is, hello bunny. The next road in here is the entrance to the campground / RV park. Called Tuckahoe Acres. There's a lot of friendly people in there too. It's a lot of these RVs that we're passing by right now, they never move. They're here for the duration. I'm not sure what it costs for them to keep them here, but it seems like it's a very nice place that people really like to stay. This area on our right has wild turkeys, deer, yep, and some hay being grown. There's some deer out there. So now we've passed Tuckahoe Acres, and we're back to a little bit of wooded area. and back to another hayfield up here. The end of this road has a overlook of the bridge, the Indian River Bridge and Indian River Bay. Indian River Bridge marks the demarcation between the Indian River Bay and the Atlantic Ocean. And these folks have a nice view of that. That house on the right there, the gray one, just got built by Baraka Homes. I'm not sure if it was sold or it's a part of the original house that was built here years ago and has been here ever since. So obviously I have to turn around here and go back. So now maybe we'll get the wind behind us. Might be a little easier to hear me this way. And again, back to pass by Tuckahoe Acres. They do keep this area fairly well manicured beside the road. They mow all the way up and down this street, which is a little surprising, but I think it's done privately and not by the state. People like to have their area looking good, pretty, welcoming, and I think they've accomplished their goal. Yeah, there's a deer way out there in that field on our left. I'm not sure what he's doing out there, but he's there. Usually they travel in families, so it's strange to see just one. Somebody must be on vacation out here today. A couple people getting their stuff ready for the summer still, maybe, coming down for a visit. And they farm this area on our right as well. As you can see, that's quite a little farm. They've got a duck blind out there. They do hunt around here. Even the state lands have hunting permits. I don't know if they're only for bows. I haven't quite figured that out because I don't hunt. But when I go to some areas that I travel through on my bike, I see little ads or signs that say duck blind #1 and so forth. So they're actively keeping this area ready for that type of activity where you would come out and hopefully get yourself some geese or ducks or maybe some venison. So I'm going to go back here and we'll go into what they call the primitive campgrounds. Primitive campgrounds have not been anybody camping in here that I've seen for almost 2.5 years. So it's kind of been in a shut off mode. And he's turning around because of, there's some mud holes back here, which you can pretty much go through. They're not terrible. I go through them, around them, I should say, not through them. Oh, they've opened up the gate today. I wonder what that means. No, they haven't. I'm sorry. The red sign's still there. We just go around that gate. And there's a little path to the right here that you can go up and over that little slump. I tend to go this way just because I'm kind of familiar with it and it seems to work for me and the bike. And down here on the right, this is a sandy area, so you can go through here. This area on the right, there's a first trail you'll see, and there's trails crisscrossing this whole back area. This is all Holts Landing State Park. This is an access road that I'm not sure what they use it for other than for the primitive campgrounds, but since no one's been camping out here, I see traffic come back here occasionally, but I'm not sure what they do. There's a couple of porta potties they've established along here that are near the campgrounds. I guess they're for people who take hikes and ride bikes and ride horses and need to stop beside the road for a minute, call of nature as it were. So this area here is always can be flooded after a rain because they're low spots. We kind of know where they are, so we know how to work around them, and it's not terrible. It just is what it is. As I go down here further, we're going to start to run into some of the campgrounds. I'll try to stop and show them to you as we go along. I'd love to see a jamboree out here, Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or Cub Scouts. I'd like to see the camping starting here again. I'm not sure at this point why it has not, but I can only assume that once upon a time it was fairly active back here because they have facilities for pretty large campground areas. There's, I think, at least 3 or 4 of them, and I'll show you the first one here on the right. So this is Site C. As you can see, there are fire pits and tables and lots of room for camping and tents and activities back here. So we'll just scoot in and out of that. Nice little bench someone put up there. This is serviced by the Friends of Holts Landing. It's a volunteer group that comes and meets. Now there's the first porta potty. Meets I think the first Tuesday of every month, or maybe it's the first Saturday of every month. Oh, leaving your trash. Oh no. Don't like to see that. This is carry it in, carry it out kind of area. So this is Site B. And again, you can see the facilities, the picnic tables, that type of thing. People are not being nice. People are dumping off their duty bags. That's not nice. Why does that occur? Here's another porta potty. And we come to I guess this is Site A. Yeah, this is Site A. Again, campgrounds, facilities, picnic tables, authorized vehicles only, horse trail, hiking trail. There's one more little campsite down here. I don't know if it has a number on it. I don't think it has a letter. It might be the first site. It may not even have a name. Doesn't look like it has a name. But as you can see, it's another area with picnic tables and lots of facilities. It's in need of a little bit of repair. That fence not being used for, again, I know at least 3 years. Since I think all of this changed with COVID. 19 may have been the last time these campsites were actively used. There's one of the side trails. You can go, those crisscross the whole area, up and back and sideways. So it's quite a little area in here. Not so much that you can get lost. This is the main one that when we came in and we passed the first trail, this is part of that outlet. And this area down here is got little gravel on it, which pea gravel, I guess it is, which makes it nice to ride your bike or walk or horseback or what have you. Everybody seems to enjoy coming back here. They push baby carriages. It's really used quite often. I don't know about on a Tuesday morning whether it'll be used, but these weekends it's really busy. Now there's a concert this evening at 6 o'clock, I think between 6 and 8. I'll show you where that is once we explore this little alcove down here. This is where the osprey nest is from 2 years ago. I haven't seen the ospreys back since. I doubt whether they'll be there this time either. For some reason, they pick and choose when they want to come, and the last 2 years they haven't. But I do have some video or some photos of the time they were here. The area along here is popular with the deer and other critters. Now, there's no osprey today. You can see their nest up there. And you can see how windy it is out on the bay. This is the Indian River, and it's quite cranky today. You see whitecaps like that, you know you're getting a very nice breeze coming through. Whoa! That is not something you want to be out in a little boat. I won't say people won't try, but I would not recommend it. Big boat, maybe. But be comfortable in it. You're going to get banged around a little bit. So we're going to head back out, pick up that trail again. See if we can get across the bridge safely. There's a big marsh that we have to cross over, which has a metal bridge they've erected across it. And it's big enough to, you know, for people to cross in the middle. But honestly, I hope I don't run into anybody on a windy day like this, because it's just easier if you don't have any competition. So we'll see what happens here. Coming down to it. Now I have a nice little seating area here. Come out here and watch the birdies. But this is the bridge. It goes over the marsh. So we're going to go across here carefully. Hope the wind doesn't affect us too much. This area here can get all flooded at times. And it's times like this with a high tide and a strong wind that pushes the water into this area and it all floods. Not too high today, not too bad. See that flagpole whipping. So we're going to go and explore a couple of beaches over here. She's coming off the fishing pier. I'm sure she was out there fishing somewhere or something. I think they might use this area down here more as a beach than maybe for clamming, beaching, that kind of thing. I don't know that it's nice enough to sit out on the sunshine today, but we'll go take a quick peek, turn around and come back out. There you go. We have families out here today. I think they're clamming. Yep, that's what they're doing. They're out there clamming. They're hoping to get a couple clams and take them home and have a bake. Okay, so we'll head back out of here. Go out and take a quick peek out on the pier. But you can see even on a Tuesday, midday on a Tuesday, it's in June, so you're going to see this. You have a lot of cars out here again. People come here to picnic and hike, clam, explore. Not really much of a sunshiny day, so they're probably not doing much of that. You can feel that wind in my face again coming in off the water. There's a lot of people out on the pier today, as you can see. Just enjoying it, being out in the middle of nature. Yeah, someone was out here with their truck. That doesn't make any sense. How you doing? How you doing? Great, thanks. Again, people are very nice. Now there's an EV station up here. Charge your EV if you happen to need one while you're out here. I think I've seen someone hooked up to that once in the 3 years I've been driving. Doesn't seem like a very good use of time and money, but that's what they do. Here's where you pay to park. You're supposed to anyway. I don't know how they make sure you do it or not, unless the state cops come down, and I haven't seen. So this is the kayak area here. You can store your kayak for a minute while you go and turn around or do whatever you got to do. And there's a little bench, and obviously you can see the extent of the wind blowing again. So we'll cut through here, a little shortcut. Now this is an electric bike. It's a Rad Rover 6 Plus step through. Kind of complicated to say all that, but that's the name of the bike. I have now 1,928 miles on it. Oh, I can't believe you're putting that little boat in. Or are you taking that little boat out, maybe? I wouldn't want to put that little boat in there. Not today. Might be hazardous to your health. That is a rockin'. So all the way up and down here is used. That's the marina we passed before. The sign for going into the marina is right over here. The boats come out from the slip over there where those RVs are, come out through this cut and then take a right and go out into the water. No wake zone. So you've now had a little view of Holts Landing. I'm going to run through the parking lot real quick. See what people are doing over here. I assume there's some picnicking going on, although it's a little breezy and we're right out in the middle of nowhere. There's some people being good and paying. Families, as you can see. I think I'll just go over here because he's dawdling along a little bit. So this is a beautiful little playground that they've created for the children. And as you'll see here, not only is there a playground, but there's a grandstand where they have Tuesday night concerts. Over on the right is a trailhead with one of the trails that leads through the whole park. I've walked all of these at various times and ridden them with a bike, and one's more beautiful than the other. They're very nice. So the way that flag is coming in, it's kind of a northeast breeze. That's why it's so cloudy today. So this is the entrance to the park. And in normal times, it might have someone manning it and collecting fees. Right now, for some reason, no. Again, I don't think it's ever gotten back up to speed since COVID. They're doing something in here. Not sure what it is. Huh, very interesting. They're dragging a white flag across those flowery bushes over there. Someone will have to tell me what they're doing. I don't know. So all along on the right-hand side here is more of that walkway where we just passed the trailhead that takes you out to the one trail in the primitive campgrounds that I showed you, and then the one in the near the entrance that we saw on the way in. Friends of Holts Landing. They're the ones that try to keep this place up. A lot of birds in this area. This is what they call a borrow pit land. As I understand it, this was owned years ago by a family. Might have been the Holts, I'm not sure. The land was acquired or left to the state, again going back many years. And the state has taken some of the dirt out of these areas, so they created big holes in the ground. I guess they needed the dirt for some other purpose. And those holes are filled up with fresh water. So now they're bird areas and fishing areas and aquatic life of all sorts that I think is probably fairly dependent upon them at this point. We're back to the farms, and we're going to head down. I didn't bring any money with me today. I might have stopped by that little fruit stand and picked up a few things. Maybe another day I'll do that. I didn't realize they were open because this is the first time I've seen it actually opened up. Strong breeze coming across. Like I said, this is a very active farm area. All of these farms are actually used. We'll go left here. I don't see any traffic, so we'll go out and coast down this road here. Now we're heading back into the northeasterly breeze. So it's a bit of a strong one here. You can see how this corn just keeps growing. Produce parking, okay. I'll have to remember that they're now open. I think when you come up here, you ought to have the correct change because I don't think there's anyone actually manning the facility. They just trust you to leave them the right amount of money. Yeah, I'm glad I wore my sweatshirt today because even though it might be 70 degrees, it's 70 degrees with a wind chill off of a cold ocean. So it feels cooler than that, I can guarantee you. So we're going to go into the back entry to our development, which is up here. It's a gravel road that feeds this little farm here, or private piece of land. And where you see that fence, that's where Bayforest starts. And these are villa homes that are all backed up to a gardening area where they have a little society that takes care of growing herbs, gardening in general. They've got a facility here that has a whole area for the gardeners. And then as you can see over here, it has the actual garden itself. And in here we can pick variety of herbs. They grow flowers. I think they do a beautiful job myself. They have sometimes little affairs down here, a kick-off the season affair, different holidays. Now, once this area gets final approval from the powers that be, this area back here was once called and was the pig farm. There was an active farm in here that was not a part of Bayforest. They walled themselves off. And all of this had a fence around it. And I've since removed the fence because they intend to go in there and start building. I think it's 28 more homes. Don't quote me for sure on that, but quite a few more homes. Here we have our families. You don't have to go anywhere, duckies, geesies. I'm not going to bother you. Don't worry. They go in there and they forage, obviously. Birds around here are pretty used to people. So intimidation is not a factor for the most part. Although if you walk by them, they will sometimes hiss at you a little bit. Make sure you don't get too close. I haven't ever heard of anyone getting, attacked. But if you go threaten a goose, they will go after you. Their bite is not terrible, but if you get bitten by one of them, you'll feel a nip. So again, this is all part of the bay side of Bayforest, and it's the second side of the whole thing that was built. All of these were built basically in the last 3 years. This area over here was built and finished maybe a year and a half ago. They have, I think, a beautiful little community back here to walk through. And it leads out to some sitting areas and some kayaking and boating areas, which we'll go take a quick look at. This is an active farm in front of us. I guess they have hay on there this year. I'm not sure what they normally grow. I thought in the past it had been corn. Interesting. But again, all of this is active, flat campgrounds, planting grounds, farm grounds. So I'm curious as to how high the tides have gotten this year. That's okay. He's all right. Now here's a sunrise and sunset platform. It's open in both directions. You can watch the sunrise to our left over that bridge that's kind of disappeared out there, and to our right is a sunset position. You can walk out onto that fishing pier there, crabbing pier, I guess, as much as anything, and it's usually fairly active. people do like to be out here and get into nature a little bit. The young man and his son were taking out their kayak. I'm really not sure they should be going out too far today unless they stick in the little inlet that we have here or just out into White's Creek. If they stay there, they should be okay, but don't go out into the bay. It's just too windy today for a kayak. Chesapeake Utilities. I would say that's gas work, but I'm not sure. They've got a bunch of flags out there all of a sudden. I'm not sure what that's about. And they just built this new restroom facility. It's now open for the residents. You got to have a code to get in. So they got white flags out there. That's interesting. Don't know what that's about. He's just killing some time. Maybe that's the project they're working on back there. I don't know. A lot of golf carts in this community. It seems like a trendy way to get around instead of using your feet. Most of the areas here are close enough you can walk within 15 minutes. Now you can take easily an hour's walk because there's miles worth of pathways, some of which we saw out on the road. And most of them are actively used. There's a couple that are right along the cut into White's Creek that are very popular because they're very scenic. I don't go over there with a bike because we're supposed to keep motorized vehicles off of those roads. But it's all around us. Everywhere you look, there's something pretty to go see and somewhere pretty to investigate. Each one of these streets is named after a bird. So that's Dunlin, that's Cormorant. We live on Tanager. This is Sanderling. And this takes you over to the Sanderling Pool Complex, which we're going to pass momentarily. Ahead of us is the gym, workout room, area for, I guess, all sorts of aerobic type exercise classes, showers, bathrooms. Just past that is the male area for this side of the complex. And then over here, we have Sanderling Pool, which is open right now through the summer. And then just beyond that is the fabulous facility for all sorts of sports. They do pickleball and basketball, and right now I think it's big for pickleball. And there's an area that you can have a little party out if you choose to. They have concerts over there we just had one 2 weeks ago that benefited the food bank of Delaware. Everybody goes over there with their little chairs if they want to, or just sit on the facility chairs. And they bring food trucks in. They have a little area where they have a beverage stand, which has beer and other kind of drinks. And this is again another townhouse section. This again is in the old section, or we call it the forest section of the development. So you'll see it's an older section with more mature trees and some forest trees that have never been cut down. They've just been there and they were built around. We're having a speeding problem in the community. You see that guy's going way over the speed limit. It's a 17-mile-an-hour area, and not many people do 17 miles an hour. I know they'd like him to stay under 20. Now, I'll see if I can catch that guy. I'm now doing 20, and he's still pulling away from me. So this is what happens in our community. People do not obey the speed limits. And a lot of it is commercial trucks. Some of it is people who come here and visit. So he's doing 23 miles an hour up this little area. That's what it took for me to stay equal to him. That might be just a little bit fast, particularly going around this area here. So I don't know who he is, but he should slow down. Then we come to the forest facilities, where you have a swimming pool, basketball, we have a golf putt-putt green, we have the forest side mail area, staging for the landscapers come over here. That's Atlantic. They do a great job. It's quite a project to keep this place cut and trimmed and under control, as you might imagine. So I'm going to try to go up and get my mail real quickly. I'm going to just leave this here for a second. See me walk up there, take my key, and see if we got any mail. If not, I come back. Morning, how are you today?
Doing all right, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Okay, just commercial stuff today. So I'll probably want to come back and see if there's more later when she's finished. She helps Jimmy on certain days of the week when Jimmy's not available. Jimmy's our regular postman. I've known him for years. When I first met him, he says, "Oh, I got some mail from you." I said, "How do you know who I am?" "Well, I know everybody." And he does. Only 1,000 people in here, 1,000 homes. And he knows, well, probably on this side, maybe 400 or 500, but he seems to know everybody, which I think is great. Nice to be known. So this is I'll take us a quick ride down here. This is we have a big game room, other facility where you can come in and have a party. There's foosball and other things. Over here is a gym. You can see the pool's open. This is more for the youngsters who like to get on the, oh, they've moved that stuff. Oh, thank God that's gone. There was some stuff there I was worried about mosquitoes getting in. So then you have pickleball and tennis here on the left. More walking paths. They have a tennis pavilion there with restrooms and sitting areas. It's funny how it's turned a lot from tennis to pickleball. Seems like what I see here, maybe well over 50% at this point is pickleball. It's kind of taken over the whole country, I think. We have a putting green over here on our right. I got to get my putter out there and hit a couple of putts around. It's, you know, it's funny if you play golf. Oh, they're playing pickleball. No, they're playing. Oh, these are the playoffs for the bocce. I gotcha. Yeah, bocce's pretty big around here too. There's a fall league and a spring league, and right now they're having the playoffs to determine who's going to be the overall winner for the spring section of the meet for the year. Again, more Atlantic equipment. And at this point, we're going to head home. And we've been out 51 minutes. So, nice little walk, nice little ride. And I'm back to my house. Open up the garage door so I can slide into the garage and put this thing away. Joyce is in with some of her friends playing mahjong. We might go take a little walk in the neighborhood a little bit later today. And that's the end of my fabulous ride. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did.